Howdy, folks. I wanted to have a little chat with you about something that we've talked about before, but it's been a little while, and I think it's probably a pretty good idea to go back over this topic because I think we're going to see it come to light very, very, very soon in this country. So, what prompted me to make this video was a news article that I had ran across, and it what was interesting about the article is what was not in the article, and I recognized that, and kind of pretty well figured out how it very likely went down, and it prompted me to make this video because it reminded me of the intent and purpose behind a program that the United States government had been training for and put in place quite a while back. And so I want to revisit that because I really do honestly think we're going to see it come to light very soon. I think we're going to see that program go very active. So what am I talking about? Well, where do I start? The article. Let me go ahead and get the article out of the way that I saw, and then we'll go from there. So, the article I saw is right here. DNA from Ribbone leads to arrest after infant left in the trash 30 years ago. Sounds great, doesn't it? I mean, I certainly have no problem with them solving a crime and locking them up for good, especially when it comes to the death of an infant child. But the interesting thing is they talk about, how they got the DNA from the rib of the baby in 2019. They reinvestigated it. They sent the rib bone into a lab. And then what it said is a further investigation, led to these folks right here that you see in the picture, okay? Apparently, married couple, I don't know the story, have no idea what the story is or anything else, but there's one glaring important piece of information that's missing out of this article, and that bit of information is how did they get from A to B? How did they get the DNA from that rib bone? Okay, that's easy, that's easy, but then how did they match it? How did they match it up with this couple? Probably a pretty simple answer. I am pretty certain that it's a high likelihood that one or the other or both have signed up to one of these DNA things like 23andMe or whatever. There's several of them out there. Sent their DNA in, and now their DNA is a matter of record. Huh. Imagine that. And I honestly think that is what led the police to them. Now, I don't know this for fact, that this is all speculation on my part, and I'm right up front in saying that. But they've been using this. They've been using these companies, these private companies like 23andMe and many others. They have been getting DNA from them, or I should say the identities behind DNA, for a long time. The government. It's been going on. I would even go as far to argue that that's probably why many of them are even there to begin with. Which brings me to my point. A while back, there was a huge issue. People were raising hell about it, and then it kind of just disappeared. Anybody remember the no refusal blood draw checkpoints? I do. It's actually part of the whole Viper program. Yeah, which I looked into very heavily years ago. That's what this is all for. See, because they don't have all of our DNA. They've got a lot of people's DNA, but they don't have all of it. They want all of it. And at some point, it's going to get to a level to where it will be illegal. I can assure you, I have called this stuff on the head. I was saying stuff over 20 years ago that are coming to light today. I was called crazy. I was called crazy 2 years ago for the things that are coming to light today. I'm telling you this is coming. That it will be mandatory that the government have your DNA. And they will start making checkpoints for multiple reasons. I mean, obviously the health pass will be one of them. But it's also going to be used to collect your DNA. And the training for all of this was the no refusal blood draws. Because you won't have a choice. You won't be able to opt out. They want you in their system. Your DNA. And I personally think that your DNA is something that needs to be very seriously, privately guarded. I think your DNA is probably the most private, personal thing that a human being can have. And why? Because it is absolutely, without a doubt, the one thing that makes you truly unique, the one thing that truly makes you an individual. And there are no two the same. There are no two the same. Your DNA, I believe, is very important to you, and your privacy of it likewise. I think we're going to see this come to light, and keep an eye out for stories like this that involve DNA. A lot of times you'll see it plays out like this. They won't explain how they made the match. They won't talk about how they made that match because they don't want you to know. They want people to keep foolishly sending in their DNA to these companies so they can find out, where they came from or whatever. And, if you choose to do that, that's fine. But just realize that when you did that, you just marked yourself. You put yourself in the system. So you have to weigh what's more important for you. For me, I'm going to go with privacy. Shalom.